and even bought my dream home paid fully in cash. But you know what? Before I came across this amazing discovery, I was pretty much like you. I was an ordinary guy living in Seattle, Washington. I was married to my lovely wife, Rachel, and we have two amazing daughters, Nicole and Tiffany. To be honest, for a large part of my life, I never believed in the law of attraction, manifestation, or all those spiritual hogwash. And trust me, I was the most skeptical of them all, because I was a huge believer in putting in 100% hard work in anything that I do. To me, that was the only way to ensure that my family enjoys a good life. I mean, whatever you want in life, you have to work for it, right? That belief was ingrained within the core of my being until one day, a dreadful incident changed my life forever. You see, for 15 years, I had given my life working for the company. One day, my supervisor asked me to go to his office. I kind of found that strange, as he would typically come over to my desk if he needed anything. So I put down my work and went into my supervisor's office. "Jake, take a seat," he said. "I appreciate the work you've done for these 15 years as an IT engineer, but I'm afraid I have to let you go. We are moving our whole division to India, where it's much cheaper, so there isn't any work left for you. I'm sorry. We will give you 2 weeks to find a new job." How could this happen to me, I thought to myself. I slaved myself for this company with absolute loyalty, and this is how I am treated at the end? Words couldn't describe the disappointment I was feeling. I was on the verge of giving up. But deep down, I knew that I have to keep persevering, because I promised my wife Rachel that I wouldn't let her suffer again after she married me. I wanted to give her a good life, and the only way to do it was to keep moving forward. She was the only reason why I couldn't give up. And because I didn't want her to worry, I chose not to tell her that I lost my job. The next day, I started sending out hundreds of resumes, hoping to get a new job soon. And finally, one day, my effort paid off. I secured an interview with one of the big IT companies in Seattle. Right after the interview, I quickly rushed back home to share my joy with Rachel. As I opened the bedroom door, I saw Rachel together with my best friend, Ryan. "Jake, I'm sorry." Rachel tried to explain, but she knew that I wouldn't listen. I clenched my fist tight, trying to hold back my anger. At the moment, I felt like the whole world was crashing down on me. I kept asking myself, why? What have I done to deserve all this? Why me? It was as if the universe had something against me, as though I was caught in an endless spiral of bad luck ever since I was born. When I was still a small kid, my mom left us for another man, so I grew up living with my dad. My dad was an alcoholic. Whenever he was drunk, he would beat me up. I tried to run away, but I had nowhere to go. But what always drives me forward is the single belief that the future can be better. By working hard, I can be successful. That hopeful ending is what kept me going. But year after year, I was always met with obstacles. I grew up in a broken and unloving family, got fired from a job I worked so hard for, and now even my wife decided to leave me for another man. At that point, I was completely lost. It was like there was no way out, no hope, no future. Even seeing my kids makes me depressed, as I felt that I have failed them. So I thought to myself, "Jake, maybe this is your fate. No matter how hard you try, you will never be successful. You will never be rich. This is fate." And just when I thought my life was destined for failure, a series of weird events unfolded that changed my life forever. One fine morning, I was sitting in the nearby park. I glanced over at my watch and felt frustrated that I was wasting yet another day. I thought to myself, a 30-year-old sitting aimlessly in the park at this hour when he's supposed to be the breadwinner for the family. What a disgrace. Then I heard a voice. "Have you made your wish yet?" At first I couldn't see anyone, but when I looked back, there was an old guy standing right behind me. I was stunned for a moment. "Pardon?" The old man looked at me and smiled. "It's 11:11, the holy time that the universe opens the door for us. Aren't you going to make a wish, young man?" I smirked and replied, "If 1111 really works, I wouldn't even be sitting here at this hour." "So why are you here then?" said the old guy, who later on addressed himself as Jim. You see, normally when a stranger talked to me, I would try to end the conversation with a nod or a smile. However, for some strange reason, I felt comfortable talking to Jim. Even though it was my first time meeting him, it seemed like I'd known him for years. And so, I told Jim everything. Everything from losing my job to my wife leaving me for another man. I shared with him that I felt disappointed, betrayed, and hopeless. It's been a long time since someone actually sat beside me and listened to my troubles. And throughout the entire time I was chatting with Jim, I felt a sense of peace and calmness. And the weird thing is, even though I feel that it was just a short chat, but in reality, 3 hours had passed, and it was time for me to fetch my daughter